Have you ever gazed up at the night sky and wondered, what was there before the stars? Before time itself began to tick? The stories we tell, the myths we weave, often try to answer this fundamental question. Today we journey back, not just in time, but to a state before time, to the very dawn of the cosmos according to the ancient Norse. Forget what you think you know about creation. This isn't a story of a single, omnipotent hand shaping the universe. This is a story of chaos and order, of violent elements clashing in an endless void, and of something magnificent growing from the struggle. This is the story of Yggdrasil, the world tree, and its roots run deeper than you could ever imagine. Before there was anything, there was nothing. A vast, silent, yawning abyss known as Ginnungagap. Picture it, not darkness, because there was no light to contrast it with, not emptiness, because there was no substance to be absent. It was a pure, primordial potential, a gaping void where concepts like space and time held no meaning. For an eternity that wasn't an eternity, Ginnungagap simply was. It was the canvas upon which everything would be painted, the stage before the actors had even been conceived. But this perfect stillness could not last. From this void, two opposing realms began to form at its edges. To the north, the realm of Niflheim emerged, a world of unimaginable cold, eternal ice, frost, and mist. Think of a cold so profound it doesn't just chill you to the bone, it is the absence of all heat, all movement, all life. Rivers of ice, the Elivagar, flowed out from a central spring, Vergelmir, their venomous frost solidifying layer upon layer in the great void. Niflheim was the embodiment of stillness, of frozen, unchanging reality. And to the south, its perfect opposite, Muspelheim, the realm of fire. A searing, incandescent world of eternal flames, molten rock, and scorching heat. It was a place of constant, violent motion, ruled by the fire giant Surtur, whose flaming sword would one day play a devastating role in the fate of the gods. The air in Muspelheim shimmered with a heat so intense it could turn stone to ash. Sparks and embers flew from its fiery core, drifting out into the silent expanse of Ginnungagap. It was the very essence of chaos, of untamed, destructive energy. So, in the middle of this cosmic stage, you have the creeping, silent cold of Niflheim spreading from the north, and the explosive, radiant heat of Muspelheim advancing from the south. For ages, these two primordial forces expanded, inching closer and closer across the vastness of Ginnungagap. Imagine the tension, the silent, cosmic standoff between absolute zero and a raging inferno. One sought to freeze everything into motionless silence, the other to burn it all into chaotic energy. And then, in the heart of the void, they met. Where the freezing rime of Niflheim touched the fiery sparks of Muspelheim, a reaction of unimaginable scale occurred. It wasn't an explosion in the way we understand it. It was a grand cosmic alchemy. The ice didn't just melt, it hissed and steamed, releasing vast clouds of vapor. The fire didn't just extinguish, it battled the cold, creating a tumultuous zone of creation and destruction. In this chaotic embrace of fire and ice, the fundamental elements of the universe were born. Water, air, earth, all formed from this violent yet life-giving collision. From the melted frost, water began to drip. And these were not ordinary drops of water. Imbued with the life-giving magic of the Elivagar and the energetic chaos of Muspelheim, these drops held the potential for life. They gathered and coalesced in the warmer central region of Ginnungagap, and from them the first living being was formed, the giant Ymir, the ancestor of all Jötnar, or giants. And alongside him, from the same melting ice, came a cosmic cow, Audumbla, whose milk sustained Ymir, and from whose licking of the salty ice blocks the first of the gods would eventually be freed. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The creation of these first beings was a monumental event, but it was a symptom of a much larger process. The energy released from the clash of fire and ice needed to go somewhere. This raw, untamed power, a perfect balance of elemental forces, could not remain formless. It began to coalesce, to seek structure, to grow. In the very center of this cosmic maelstrom, where the energies were most potent, a seed began to sprout. It wasn't a physical seed planted in soil, but a metaphysical one, born from the perfect equilibrium of opposites. This seed drank in the chaos and the order, the heat and the cold, the light and the dark. It absorbed the raw, creative potential of the newly formed universe and began to grow, reaching outwards and upwards, giving form to the formless. This was the birth of Yggdrasil. It wasn't just a tree, it was the axis of reality, the cosmic pillar connecting all that was, is, and ever would be. As its roots burrowed deep, they anchored themselves in the primordial realms. One great root pushed back into the frigid mists of Niflheim, drawing from the spring of Fergelmir, the source of all cold rivers. Another root reached towards the fiery heart of Muspelheim, anchoring itself against the chaos and drawing strength from its untamed energy. A third root extended into the void of Ginnungagap itself, the place of its birth, establishing a foundation in the very heart of existence. These weren't just roots holding up a plant, they were the very foundations of the cosmos. They stabilized the warring elements, creating a framework upon which worlds could be built. The tree imposed order on the chaos. Its growth defined the very structure of space. Its massive trunk became the central column of the universe, and its branches began to reach up higher and higher, creating a canopy that would one day hold the stars. Yggdrasil was more than just a tree. It was the embodiment of life itself. Its sap was the lifeblood of the cosmos. Its leaves breathed existence into the void, and its very presence created the possibility for everything that was to come. The silent, empty Ginnungagap was no more. In its place stood a living, breathing, growing entity of unimaginable scale, a cosmic tree whose existence gave structure and meaning to reality. This was the beginning. The foundation had been laid. The world tree, Yggdrasil, now stood tall in the center of creation, its roots firmly planted in the primordial forces that gave it life. But the tree was just the beginning. Its mighty branches were still bare, and the realms that would hang upon them like cosmic fruit were yet to be formed. The first beings, Ymir and Audumbla, were stirring, and their actions would set in motion a chain of events leading to the birth of gods, the creation of humanity, and the shaping of the 9 worlds. The story of Yggdrasil is the story of everything, and we've only just uncovered its roots. What grows from these roots? How were the 9 worlds, including our own Midgard, actually formed and placed upon its branches? And what creatures, gods and giants came to inhabit this new, structured cosmos? The answers lie further up the trunk and among the sprawling limbs of the world tree. To find out, you'll have to join us for part 2, as we climb from the roots of Yggdrasil and explore the trunk that holds the 9 worlds together. You won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey to the beginning of everything. If you enjoyed this dive into the depths of mythology, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter of our story. We'll see you next time.